Welcome to another episode of Oyster Boy Survives with me, Oyster Boy. I'm very glad you could join me today. So, as you recall, we left Vincent's Island and moved on to the landmass where the makers of the Moai come from. And I originally was over there and was thinking that that would be the place to start building the city. But that had a problem. And let me just go over there and sleep in a bed, because if I don't, I'm going to get overrun with mobs, and then I'm not going to be able to talk to you. Yeah, so there's a problem over here still. Even though I really like this particular area, it's still not very flat. So there would be a lot of landscaping necessary to work here. So I decided to sort of wander around and explore this landmass. This landmass is also an island. It's much, much bigger, but it is an island. It's about 300 blocks that way to the opposite shore. But as I was wandering around, I came across this area down here, and I was looking around here, and I was like, geez, look at all the different levels of ground. I'm going to have to tear up a huge section of this to build the city. I was really looking for something flatter. And I guess in taiga like this, it's kind of hard to find a flat area. So I was just sort of wandering around, and I think I was about, I was about here. All right, yeah, I was pretty much here. And I just sort of came wandering through here, came through the trees, and then I saw this. And it suddenly occurred to me, this is a perfectly flat area. Right? This is completely flat. It's all water, but it's completely flat. I could put down ground over this water, and this would be a landmass that's already very flat for me. And we can landscape around the edges to make this water look natural. We would have to build a lot of these trees, obviously, if we can't get them to grow, and I'm pretty sure we can't. But I think this works as an area in which to build the city. It would mean that the city doesn't face that way toward the west. Instead, it would face, toward the east. Instead, it would face this way, which is south, I think? Yeah, south. So, having done that, I sat down and I started sketching out on graph paper what I thought the layout for the ground city would be. And I came up with something that was about 105 blocks that way to about 75 blocks this way, east-west. So, it's pretty big. It's pretty big. And that's a lot to build. However, the upside is, remember, that it's ruined. It's all crumbling. So most of the buildings are just going to be foundations. I was kind of inspired by places like Tikal and the various Mayan cities. If you go on Google and search on Mayan city map or Mayan city ruins, and you'll see what that looks like. And that bit of glowstone right there marks the center of the building area. So those trees might stay. Most of them might stay. We might be able to just incorporate them into what we're doing. But I've marked off with glowstone sort of 8 compass points around this rectangle where the city would go. So here would be the temple, and the temple would face in that direction. And then in that direction would be all the cities, and then the foundations. And then at the far end there would be some Moai. One to the left of the entrance, one to the right of the entrance. And then I think a big one at the entrance where the mouth forms an archway that allows you to enter. Now, I do have some limitations as far as what I can do in this build. Remember, we want these people to live in a treetop village above the city. That means the city can't get that tall. If the city was several stories high, right, they would just live in the top floors of the city and build their walkways and things up there. But the city is mostly collapsed. And the temple is probably the tallest structure, and I'm trying to keep it short. Because, well, these things, we're at like Y63 here. They go up to like Y90. So they're only like 27 blocks high, 26, 27 blocks high. So there's not a lot of vertical space. And, if I build something that's 13 blocks high, I'm already halfway up. So I've got to be very careful about not making the buildings too tall. So these people didn't build tall, traditionally. They may have built wide, but not tall. So that's the plan. I think that's the area. So what was I thinking of putting there? All right, well, to go over that, we're going to need to switch to the creative world, because I have done some laying out of things there. There we go. All right, so this represents the rectangular area that you saw. And there's a space for the two Moai, and that might be the big one in the center. This area down here I need to play with. But this would be the entrance area, these Moai facing the sea, and one Moai that forms a passageway. And then these would all be foundations. And it is symmetrical. Sorry. And then this gizmo here would be the big mining area in the center of the city. Something about their religion requires them to dig into the earth and recover, I don't know, gold or something. So they have this big gold mine in the center of the city. And it is from this area that the evil will spring. And I think we're going to make like tendrils. We're going to make long black tendrils out of probably black wool. And all around them we'll put other stuff like soul sand and stuff like that. So wherever they touch, the ground becomes poisoned. And that's why the citizens have to leave the city. And I haven't decided whether if you come into the city you die instantly, or, if the idea would be more like, well, we come into the city, but we can't stay here for more than a few minutes or we start to become sick. So like potentially, if a citizen needed to, they could come down into the city briefly just to get something and then go back up. They wouldn't be able to maintain the city. They wouldn't be able to live in the city. But they would be able to climb down to the surface if they needed to. So I do think, however, that from the treetops, I'm going to be building ramps down to the sea, which would be over there. So here's the temple. I only built the first floor of it. I have sketched the whole thing out. And the reason why I only built the first floor is, well, a lot of it's going to be collapsed. And again, think of Tikal, or what's the name of the other one? It begins with a C. Kopan? I can't remember. But you have these areas out here on the sides, and then this recessed area in the front where the actual temple proper is. And then this is, for example, where like a high priest would stand and address the public. And then there would be a second floor, a much smaller floor. It mirrors the bottom floor in shape, but it's narrower. So it's kind of like sort of a stacked pyramid. But again, I can only go so high up. I mean, originally these stairways were going 7 blocks up. Now they're only going 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And I think if I build anything on this floor, it's going to be no more than 5 blocks high, giving us a 10-block high temple at its highest point. And a lot of these walls are going to be collapsed, right? But in here there's another building that looks like this one that's on top of it, but smaller. And there'll be an opening in the center where you'll look up into it. And then there'll be these other chambers back here. And then an inner stairway going out to the top. So you can get out here from the inside the temple. And then you're getting into the high priest's quarters. So here would be where the high priest stays, and I haven't decided what all of these rooms are for. And then over here we would have a bath where the high priest bathes. And over here, I thought we'd have something like a fire pit. I don't know why, but I kind of like the juxtaposition of water and fire together, so. And because of the symmetry, you have the same things on the other side. The temple is symmetrical. This probably would not be tiled andesite. It probably would be brick. And you can, I wasn't aware of this, but you can actually craft cracked brick. I knew you could mine cracked brick. I didn't know you could craft it. I guess if you take brick and you throw it in the furnace, you'll get cracked brick. And then you have all these buildings. I haven't really decided what the look of these buildings is. I've just sort of worked out their shapes. But I'm not too worried about it, because most of them are going to be destroyed. So, destroyed and collapsed, and in some cases with big black tendrils going through them. So that should be a challenging build. So I haven't really thought about what the treetop portion of the village will look like. But that's okay, because I think we can spend a couple of episodes working on the city, and then move on to the treetop village. And then at some point we've got to bring villagers in, and so forth. However, and I know this maybe kind of sucks a little bit, but we're going to need to take care of the basics. So we're going to have to plant some crops, gather some livestock. I can't be running back to the resource center every time I want a bite to eat. So we're going to have to do some of that too. All right, but this gives you a sense of what the city is going to look like. Or at least where my imagination has taken me with the layout of the town. It may depart from this significantly. But this gives you a sense of the area that I'm working in. And also, you can sort of see why we want it to be flat. Okay. Alright, so that's the plan. But we have to take care of basics first, right? Unfortunately. So that means a lot of resource gathering, pulling together livestock and crops. It looks like we have sheep. I did see a few sheep around, so I got to gather those up quickly before the wolves take them out. We have pigs. We are going to need wool from the sheep. And we're going to have to get some wheat growing so we can breed them. And we had a zombie that I fought last night be nice enough to drop a carrot. So we can start growing some carrots too, so we can breed the pigs, we can breed the sheep, and we can get some food going. Ultimately, we're going to move that all up into the treetops. So we will actually have a field up in the treetops with sheep in it, and gardens up there. It's going to be very cool. I think it's going to be very cool. Stick with me, and we'll turn this. Well, it's already kind of a paradise, but we'll turn it into a very interesting landscape with our ruined city and so forth. All right, but first things first. So my bed and so forth, I need to move over here. So I'm going to take care of that now, and I will rejoin you shortly. Actually, the more that I think about it, the more I think that it probably would not be good to put the bed right here in the center of the village. It would probably be better to build my own little area where I need to live while I'm building this thing outside of the area where you're actually doing the building. Otherwise, I'm just going to end up having to move it later. I'm thinking maybe over here. There seems to be. This is outside of the boundaries. That's what that glowstone is for. This is outside the boundaries of the city. So we just go right back here. Let's take this tree out. Nice to have efficiency gear. Oh, come on. Do you believe this? Do you believe this? How dare this tree be so tall? Sorry. Okay. Yeah, so right back here, there's some area we can work with. So I think right here. All right, so let's start by getting some chests set up, because I got a lot of junk, and I'm gonna need to get that taken care of. So let's go here and let's make some chests. 2 double wide chests. Sounds good. Set our bed down. Fern eye can go there. Alright, and let's just, no time for rhyme. Not the season for reason. Let's just put all this junk in there, wherever it goes. Perfect. Alright, I gotta run over there and hello. Hello, Mr. Wolf. Alright. There you go. Alright, one wolf dealt with. Alright, boat. We'll take the boat back. It's actually good. That will let us, inspect the shore. I'll take a couple of those too. Alright, so now we can get a sense of what the shore looks like going around this giant island. That's it. Right there. Interesting. And this little part here, this is the part we're on. Let's park our boat here. So this would be a good spot to start growing our wheat. Square this off. Like this. Perfect. All right. All right, let's get this wheat going. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's all the wheat seed we have. We do have a carrot. And we're going to be planting that faux show. Sorry, pigs. Yeah, sorry, guys. It's not happening. Not this time. Of course. Of course that's what would happen. Okay, well, creeper blew up my bed. That's awesome. And I have carpet, but I don't have any wool blocks. So now I have to go shear a sheep to get more wool to make another bed because creepers can blow up beds. Sigh. New bed required because creepers. Lovely. So right now, if I die, I'll respawn on Vincent's Island. Alright, so that means, since I can't have this wolf killing the sheep I bring, I'm going to have to find a way to box him in temporarily. What do we got? We have all kinds of blocks. Well, I guess we can just make some fence, huh? Let's make some fence. Alright, so we got 48 fence. So all I gotta do is box this wolf in. There you go. Okay, so he's contained. Now, let's just check and see if there are any other wolves around here before we try to bring the sheep over. We don't have any wheat to lead the sheep, but we do have some leads. Did I just say sheeps? Oh boy. We don't have any wheat to lead the sheep, but I do have a couple leads, so I can bring them over 2 at a time. I think, however, before I do that, we should fill in these holes. We don't have to completely fill them in, but just cover them over before they... Yeah, if I try to bring sheep over here, they'll fall in. You know they will. You know it. I know it. Alright, we got one more bone. Let's try it on this wolf here and see if we can finally domesticate him. And we did. That was it. One more bone was all it took. Good boy. All right, let's get some doit, and get a level off this area. There's always another one, isn't there? I see your toe. Right in the toe. Lethal toe injury. There is something you probably thought you'd never hear. Lethal toe injury. Oy. Only in Minecraft. Okay, hello there. As you can see, I've laid out a little plot of soil, planted what few seeds I had, and the one carrot that we got from that zombie. I'm very, very eager to see that mature. And I picked up one more seed while I was messing around over here, so let's put that down. I also went over here and tried to fill in all the holes and light them up with torches. I must have missed one area because I can still hear zombies every now and then. But I wanted to take care of that before we attempted to move any sheep over here. Let's go ahead and lay out a little area where the sheepies are going to be. And this kind of looks like a good area, except that there's a big hole in the ground here, a big dent. And we picked up another seed for our troubles. Think about seeds. You know, before you have wheat, seeds are awesome. After you have wheat, seeds are a pain in the butt. You always have too many, right? I guess, people are like, well, you can breed chickens with them. Come on. Chickens? You must be kidding. Chickens breed themselves. If you have chickens, you'll have more eggs than you know what to do with, and then you'll have more chickens than you know what to do with. You just don't need seeds after you got wheat started. There should be some other uses for them. I think it'd be nice if you could, roast seeds. Like, if you could put seeds in the furnace and then use them to, as a food source. Maybe they don't restore a lot, but I've always thought it would be nice if this game had wild birds in it. All different kinds. Passerines. Passerines are songbirds. All kinds of songbirds. Robins, blue jays, chickadees, titmice, that kind of thing. Anyway, like I was saying, I've always thought it would be nice if the game had small songbirds in it. First of all, wouldn't it be so much cooler if I'm in a location like this and I actually heard birds singing? Wouldn't that be nice? And also, you could have them biome dependent, so that if you're in the desert, you hear desert songbirds. If you're in the taiga, you hear taiga songbirds. If you're in the deep woods, get it? That'd be cool, right? And then what you could do is build bird feeders, so that if you had seeds, you could make a bird feeder, and you could fill the bird feeder with seeds, and that would bring the birds in, so they would land on your bird feeder. And I don't know if maybe you could catch them and domesticate them. That would be kind of cool. But I think that would be a really nice element to add to this game. Songbirds. And I wish they would do it, but I don't think they're going to do it. Because it's kind of strictly environmental, right? It's not like for building. It's not like for combat. So what is it for? It's like just for flavor, right? And I like flavor text as much as the next guy, but I don't think they'd be willing to do that. But it would be so cool. It'd be so cool. And of course, with Minecraft switching over to Pocket Edition as the standard, Windows 10, so forth, I just have this funny feeling that it's not something we're going to see from the modding community, because it's going to be much harder to mod Minecraft when it's Windows 10. All right, can we get somewhere without these darn leaves breaking? Can you guys come over the carpet? No, you're not that smart. All right, but you would be able to come over the wool. So if I put wool there, and Then I come in here. This. There you go. Very good. And we got friends. All right, so let's go ahead and lay out a second pen for our piggy wiggies. Very good. Now let's make a gap of 2. And I'm going to need more fence. Faux show. Oh, we're going to want to cover up this watering hole. Faux show. All right, let's take some of this dirt. There's 2 pigs right there. Lead, 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 lead. Come back here, you little crapper. All right, guys, come on over here. All right, into the pen. Ta-da! Pigs. We have pigs. That was easy. Okay. We've acquired a couple pigs, put them in the pen, and then we went around this little island and eliminated all the other pigs that were running around. Because we can't have pigs wandering, especially in the Poison City. There's not going to be any animals in there. However, I think we can put some zombie villagers in there. That'd be kind of cool, huh? So, yeah. So now we're back to, just our dogs and us and the livestock. Over here, I have been getting some crops going. Not much has changed over here. I have 2 carrot plants now. Don't I feel lucky? Aren't I special? Let's just light this area. So, yeah. So things are coming along. I apologize, there's really not much building, but you did get to see the layout of the city, what it's going to basically look like. And we did talk about the area where it's going to go and our plans for the future. So I'm probably going to draw this episode to a close now. I've been recording for over an hour, and I'll trim this down to a much shorter episode. But we are getting together our base of operations. That's what this episode was about. And I may do more work on the base of operations, but I will do that off camera. So in the next episode, we will actually be landscaping and preparing to build the city. So I appreciate you coming by today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you are as excited as I am to see where this story goes. I'm really kind of stoked that we'll have, this poison city over here with zombie villagers wandering around in it and regular villagers living on the surface. Living in the treetops. I think it's going to be very, very cool. But it is going to be a butt ton of work. But that's what I'm here for. So, thank you for joining me. And I hope you will come back for the next episode of Oyster Boy Survives. And until then, bye-bye.